Do you ever wonder if it's actually worth it to make food from scratch? In this video, I'm going to find out if it's worth it to make your own pasta from scratch when compared to store-bought pasta. Non-whole wheat pasta is about $2 for 900 grams where I live, which is really inexpensive, but I find that it doesn't keep my family full as long as whole wheat pasta does. Whole wheat pasta is about $3.29 for 375 grams. That's about $1 per individual serving. I'm going to use a recipe for 50% whole wheat pasta, price out the ingredients for you, and we can see if we can save money by making it from scratch instead of buying it pre-made. This recipe uses eggs, milk, salt, and flour, but you can use water instead of milk to make it even more budget-friendly. I'll start by cracking 6 eggs into a bowl and lightly beating them with a whisk. A dozen eggs is about $4, so half a dozen is about $2. Then I'll mix in a cup of milk or water. I used milk in this recipe because I had to use up the last of a carton before it started to sour. There's 4 cups of milk in a liter, and a liter of milk is about $2, so I should be using about 50 cents of milk. Next, mix in the salt and 3 cups of whole wheat flour. I like to mix in the whole wheat flour first because it's tougher to incorporate if you try to mix it into a dry dough. After the whole wheat flour is mixed in, the dough will be very sticky. It's time to start incorporating the white flour. Once you think you can't possibly mix anymore, turn out the dough onto a floured surface and start kneading the flour in. You'll end up using about 6 cups of flour altogether, which works out to about 74 cents. This is where cooking from scratch either gets really annoying or really therapeutic. I usually like to cook with music playing, and I'll actually knead to the beat, just to get some dopamine flowing. You want to work in enough flour to get rid of all of the stickiness, but you won't be able to get rid of it all in this step. When the dough is as dry as you can get it by kneading, divide into 3 pieces. Next, I'll roll the first piece of dough out using a rolling pin. Whenever the dough starts to stick to the counter or to the rolling pin, I'll stop and rub some flour into the sticky spots. It's really important that you rub flour into the sticky spots because you want the end product to be fairly dry. This will prevent the noodles from sticking together. I don't have a fancy pasta maker, so we're making do over here. Some people will fold the dough and then cut using a knife. You can do that too, but make sure that your dough is very dry and not sticky at all. Once you have the dough rolled out thin, you can begin cutting into strips using a pizza cutter. Once the noodles are cut, just gather them up, pop them in a pot of boiling water if you want to use them right away. Or you can freeze them on a cookie sheet, bag them, and use them later. When you look at the ingredients list on store-bought pasta, egg isn't included. So there's a good chance that homemade pasta also has more protein than store-bought. Also, I feel like whole wheat pasta keeps everyone full and satisfied for longer when compared to store-bought pasta. The frozen noodles will come apart in the boiling water so long as you used enough flour to make the dough as dry as possible. This recipe makes enough noodles for 4 dinners that feed a family of 4 and will cost you about $3.34. Or $2.84 if you use water instead of milk. To make the same amount of food, we'd have to use about 1 kilogram of dry store-bought pasta. 1 kilogram of white pasta is only $2, so we would definitely spend more money to make white flour pasta from scratch when compared to store-bought white pasta. So if we're making white pasta, you're actually losing money when you make it from scratch. However, buying 1 kilogram of whole wheat pasta will cost you around $9 to $10. And since there's no price difference between whole wheat flour and white flour, we can make better quality food for cheaper than buying store-bought. So to summarize, it is worth it to make whole wheat pasta from scratch, but it is not worth it to make white pasta from scratch.